Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? Well, I am in Noblesville right now, and it is 12:56 a.m. And I just went out with Tanya and my sponsor, and I'll talk about that in a second, but I'm trying to get to these Christmas lights that we usually go to every year, these John Deere Christmas lights, and see if they're still up. Now, they're not lit right now. I can see I was coming down this way, but I have to like turn around and go this way to see. I just want to go down there and see if they're up or if they're going to put them up this year. They have like this big cross up, which is usually, they have that with the Christmas lights, but I don't see any of the Christmas lights set up. So anyway, yeah, I went out with Tanya and my sponsor tonight, and we had a really good time. I wasn't going to, and then Alex, because he didn't go tailgating, he went to his friend's 40th birthday party. It was just like a little house party that they had and stuff. And that was like earlier, and so he was like, do you want to go? And I was like, well, I wanted to make this video. It was getting really late in the day, and so I wanted to make this my reaction video to the Shane Dawson final episode that came out yesterday. And I was going to just do a rant video and then save that for tomorrow, but I was like, no, I want to film this video, I want to get it up. And I honestly was just going to stay around the house and maybe take a little bit of a nap and watch Dragula and stuff like that. But Tanya had called and said that they were going to, it was supposed to actually be more people. We're going to go to the Britain Tavern in Noblesville, which, the Britain Tavern in Noblesville is just like this local bar. But they have, like, bands that play there. And so they had a band playing tonight, and Tanya wanted to go out and dance, and so she asked our sponsor, and so she was meeting up with them, and then some other friends of Tanya's, and only, like, one came. Well, these women that I didn't know came, from, like, I guess, Tanya's chiropractor or something, I don't know. But anyway, they were really nice. I met them tonight, and, now I would think if they were gonna put this up, they would have started putting it up by now, because it's kind of this huge thing. And I don't see anywhere where they're putting it up. No. Is this a sign about it? There's nothing up. And they have all these tractors over here that would have to be moved. I have a feeling they're not doing it this year. It's really sad. They always do it. Maybe they're not doing it this year. I guess they're not. Makes me sad. Well, I put it on the vlog last year, and I think I put it on the vlog the year before. So I guess they're not going to do it this year. Well, it looked like they had something laid out there, but I don't think it was that. I mean, it would probably literally take them like 2 weeks to put up, and Thanksgiving's this upcoming week, so I can't imagine that if they don't have it up yet, like starting to put it up, they're going to put it up. But anyway, so I got the video done and stuff, and Alex had been at the party for like an hour, and I thought, well, I could go to the party, but I wanted to like go hang out with Tanya and my sponsor. They put this median in the middle of the road now, so you can't get across. You can only go turn right, and you have to go up to this roundabout up here. Oh my God. Okay. I just did this trying to figure out how to get in there, and now I'm doing it again. But anyway, so I called Tanya and I said, I think I'm gonna meet you guys. And she's like, well, we're gonna go to dinner at 7:30 there, and then we're gonna stay, and the band comes on at 10. And I said, okay, well, I'll probably be there closer to 10, because I was trying to get all my stuff done. And so I got the video up, and then I went upstairs and I took a shower, and I started getting so tired. I was like, I kind of wish I hadn't told her that I was gonna come, but I'm trying to like get out of myself and go and do more stuff, you know? I think it's good for me to get out of the house and go and do stuff. Not all the time, but you know, I was pretty social this weekend. I went last night, and then tonight I went, and we had a really good time. I danced a little bit, and the band was pretty good. But they played like all of the songs that you always hear like bar bands play. They played like, you know, like Proud Mary, Sweet Caroline, I Will Survive. What else did they play? I mean, it was like all of those kind of songs, you know. I mean, it was fun. I don't go to bars like that, but like when Alex and I mean, anymore I don't, but like when Alex and I first started dating, we, like there was this bar in Noblesville actually called Moe's that we used to go to with like 6 couples that he worked with, and we would go there on karaoke night, and it was fun. We always had a good time. And so this was very similar to that. Tanya and I actually overheard this woman. She was like talking to one of Tanya's, like, Tanya actually had a friend of hers that came that I do now, but she left pretty early. And this woman was talking to her, and she's like, do you come to the Britain Tavern often? And she called it something like the Britain. She called it Britain or something. I don't know, but anyway. And she was like, yeah, sometimes we come to hear bands. And she's like, well, this isn't my home bar. My home bar is. And then she said some other bar. She's like, yeah, I got to leave here because this is my starter bar. And then I have my home bar. I'm just like, oh my God. Like, that whole world is so foreign to me because I don't drink. So for me to have a bar to go to 3 or 4 nights a week, but I guess people do, you know, like, I just don't live that world anymore. Oh, Tanya's husband Eric came out too, and they had already eaten when I got there. Tanya was like, get something to eat, honey. She was like, are you hungry? I was like, yeah, I'm really hungry. And she was like, well, just get something to eat. They have good food here. So I ended up getting a grilled cheese. It was like a double-decker grilled cheese with waffle fries. It was so healthy. And I was drinking Cokes. So, not Diet Cokes, mind you, Cokes. But it was fun, and it was really, really good. So, we had a good time. There was like a group of people next to us that we were like talking to and getting to know, and it was fun. I had a really good time tonight, so I'm glad that I went out. And then Alex, I actually stayed out later than him. Like an hour ago, he called me and I texted him. I was like, it's way too loud in here. I can't talk. I'm coming back past it right now. There it is. And I was like, I can't like talk in here. So when I left, I called him and he had gone over to Sarah's house on the way home. So he was like, so I was talking to them, and she was telling me about how her like mom was helping her decorate her new house and stuff that she wanted to do and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, and then he's gonna stay over there for a little bit, and then he is gonna go home and let the pups out and go to bed. And then tomorrow we have to be over at errands at 1 o'clock for Friendsgiving. Oh my God, that's what I did today. I was like, what did I do today? Because I was like, I don't feel like I did anything. I don't know. I feel like I'm still kind of getting over being sick a little bit. So today I got up and I went and ran errands, and I had to go. Oh, so Alex was going to get the rolls from Costco, and I was like over there anyway. So I was like, well, I'll just go do it. So I went into Costco. And because he took his car in to get serviced and ended up taking like an hour longer than he thought it would, and we both of us slept in today. I went home last night and watched 2 episodes of Dragula. Okay, I tried. I was like, last night when I left Meyer, I was like, I'm going to finish. Last night, I don't know if I did this before I finished my vlog or after, but I did 2 review videos in the parking lot of Meyer last night. I did like a Mountain Dew one, and then I did a haul, so that was kind of fun. But anyway, I came home last night and got my food all ready, and as soon as I sat down to start watching Dragula, I just was like, I'm not as hungry as I thought I was. And so I sat and I watched. Well, I only had like half of an episode left of Dragula, so I watched like an episode and a half. I think I'm on like the 5th episode now. I think I just finished the 4th episode. So I had like half the 3rd episode and the 4th episode to watch, and I watched those, and then I went to bed. But after I got done with my videos last night, I just wanted to get home and watch TV. I was so tired, and I literally have like a half an hour left of Let It Snow, and I listened to like 10 minutes on the way home, and then I was just like, I cannot listen to it anymore. I'm too tired. I don't love the last story anyway. I mean, it's not horrible, it's good, but I was like, I've got to get home. Like, I've got to rest. And by the 2nd episode of Dragula, my eyes were like, and I looked at the clock and it was after 5. And I was like, oh my God, it got so much later than I thought it was. So I'm going to try to finish Let It Snow tonight. This has been the longest book ever, finishing it. Why is my car making that noise? is it doing that again? I'm in Drive. Hold on a second. Why is it not wanting to shift? It keeps on doing this to me. So weird. Why does it keep on doing that? It makes me nervous. I don't know what that is. Why it keeps on doing that. Anyway, I'm gonna have to take my car in to get service this week to see what that's about. The last time it was because I had it in that M thing, and then somebody said that that was manual, but this time I just looked and I wasn't in manual. So I don't know what that was. Unless I switched over and then switched out really quick. So anyway, we slept in today, and he took his car in, and then I went and ran errands. I went and got coffee, and then I went to Costco to get the buns. I actually got a box of rolls, 24 count, but they didn't look real appetizing. So then I got like a box of croissants too, because I thought that would be kind of fun to have rolls and croissants. And then while I was there, they had like these little pine, I wouldn't necessarily call them trees. They were probably 3 feet high, and they had a bunch of like a spruce tree in it, and then it had like a piece of birch wood, and then it had like a strand of like plastic cranberries or something around it. It was real pretty. And there's a big like potter. So I got it. It was $29.95 for a big pot. So I got that, and then I got a wreath for our door, and beautiful wreath. It was the last one. It was all decorated and stuff, and it kind of matched the tree. Oh, I also got some little lights to put on the tree, like LED lights. And then I got a big, huge poinsettia that I didn't even think about this when I got it. It was cheap. It was like $11.99 or $14.99, and I was like, oh, I'll keep this on the front porch. And then I was like, can you keep poinsettias on the front porch, like outside? I don't know. So I'm doing that. And then, because I know that dogs can't be around poinsettias. So we're going to keep that outside. And then when I came home, I had like moved the stuff around. I had just put it down. And so when I came back, Alex had been home before he went to the party. And he had like moved it around and moved like the tree and stuff over, and then put the poinsettia on the table so it's like away from the dogs. I'm still drinking this Mountain Dew from last night. It's not bad actually. So that was sweet that he did that. Yeah, and that was about it. That was about my wonderful, exciting day. And then I came home and filmed that video. It just seemed like a really slow day. And now I am vlogging, and when I'm done vlogging, I'm gonna listen to my audiobook, and then I'm gonna go home and go to sleep early tonight, because I'm gonna try to get up, I mean not early tomorrow, but I'm gonna try to get up a little bit early, because we're going over to, like I said, Aaron's house for our Friendsgiving, and I wanna make sure that, A, I get enough rest, and B, if I'm gonna make videos tomorrow, I'm gonna have to make them before I go. I know I'm not gonna wanna come home and make videos. I'm gonna be so tired from eating and stuff. So I either don't make videos tomorrow, or I get up early and I make videos before I go. So we'll see. We'll see which one happens. This whole week has not been great with me. You know, the earlier in the week, lacking motivation, and then at the end of the week, not feeling great. This week has not been great for me as far as making videos, but I'm like, you know what? Like, starting Monday, I'll be back to posting, you know, 3 to 5 videos a day on my channels and all that kind of stuff. So I feel inspired to get back into the routine of things. I just haven't yet. I actually have like 2, I was looking at that sign because it's called Donuts, this place. But it's not spelled like donut, it's like spelled like dough and then nuts, which I guess maybe you can spell them that way too. I don't know, but it was like the sign was real funky looking. I actually have like 2 book reviews that I need to do, so I don't know when I'm going to do those. But one of them's a Halloween book. Well, one of them's that Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell. It was such a cute book. I loved that. The graphic novel. And then, what is the other one? Oh, Iceman, Confessions of a Mafia Hitman. I don't know if I'm going to do that one because I did the live stream already about it, and I talked about it in like another video, so I may not do a review of that. And then I have to finish Let It Snow, and as soon as I do that, I'll have that review to do. I might do that and Pumpkinheads together and call it like a holiday review. Holiday book review, and then everybody will think it's Christmas books, but it's really like a Halloween and a Christmas book. I might do that, but I probably won't. I'll probably just do 2 separate review videos of each. And then there's a tag that I want to do, so that's 3 book videos that I want to do this week. I'm still kind of like laying low because I said that starting December 1st, I wanted to come back posting videos every day on my Booktube channel, every day or every other day. Or I think I said on the video every day, but to myself, I'm saying every day or every other day. My Booktube videos actually do better when I don't post every day. They do better when I post like every other day. Look at this. This is so pretty in the park here. They have it all like lit up. Isn't that so pretty? This little park in Noblesville. I wish you could drive through the town of Zionsville. I miss driving over to Zionsville, but I don't know how to get into Zionsville because it's like blocked off on Zionsville Road, so I don't know how to get through there, but it doesn't matter. So those are my intentions for the week to come. Those are my intentions. This restaurant right here, El Camino, this is the restaurant that we used to go to every Tuesday night before we went to our meeting. There was like 8 of us that went to that meeting, or went to that restaurant before our meeting on Tuesday nights. It seems like so long ago. It was so long ago. My sponsor and Tanya love to dance. They are dancing fools. And I'm kind of proud of myself because back in the day, if I was with a group of friends out at a gay bar or something like that, I would dance. Like we would all go out on the dance floor or whatever, but like at like a place like this, I'm very like socially awkward and just not super comfortable. And so I typically don't dance at places like this, you know, unless like I'm with a group and we're all dancing or something. And when I came in the door, well, it was very sweet because when I came in the door, I had like literally no cash on me. And as soon as I had to park way down from where I was, it's in this strip mall. And I was like, as I was walking there, I was like looking for a bank machine because I was like, there's going to be a cover, and I didn't even think about it. And I never carry cash on me. And I got there so late. The guy at the door was really nice, and he was like, just go in, it doesn't matter. So anyway, and then my sponsor, she said, she was like, because I was like, I texted her and I was like, I don't have any money. Do you have like $5 I could borrow? And because the cover was $5. And so she was dancing when I came in, so she didn't see my text because her phone was at the table that they were all sitting at. And so then like a half an hour later, she's like, do you need that $5? And I was like, well, he just let me in. I said, but I want to pay him still for it. And I looked for this guy and I couldn't see him anywhere right then. So I was just like, if I see him, I'll pay him. If I don't. So she was like, okay. So, but anyway, I came in and like Eric was sitting at the table with these 3 women that were from the chiropractor's office or whatever that Tanya asked to come, and Tanya, my sponsor, and Tanya's other friend were out there dancing. And so I talked to Eric for a second, and then I just went out on the dance floor, and I was like in the front row. And back in the day, like I would never have done that. I would have been like, no, I don't want to go. And I just walked out there by myself, and I was like, here I am, you know, like, and I'm so proud of myself that I've come that far, that I feel that comfortable. And you know, it's like when you get sober, you have this tape in your head that's like, well, if I drink and if I use drugs, then this will happen, then this will happen, then this will happen. And it's like this long tape, right, that you kind of run through. And then, like, as you get more and more sober, it's like your tape is shorter and shorter and shorter. So, like, even if you got a craving or whatever, you run through that tape really quick. Well, when I first started trying to be more social a couple of years ago, and I realized, you know, that I have such huge social anxiety to the point where I wouldn't even go over to parties. That, like, to go tomorrow to Friendsgiving, forget it. I would never have gone. Friendsgiving, I wouldn't have gone to, you know? And I used to talk about that on here a lot on my vlog, you know, and I was missing out on life. And YouTube has really helped me with that, because it's helped me really become comfortable with myself, and very much like, you're gonna like me or you're not gonna like me, and I can't do anything about that, right? And life is very short. I say it so much and it's like ingrained in my head, but it's like, you know, that tape back in the day used to be like, okay, if I was like gonna go to something, I'd be like, okay, Peter, you're gonna go. By the time that you go, do you remember I used to talk about this? I'd be like, you're gonna have a good time, you know, you're gonna be glad that you went, you know, it'll be time that you spent with Alex or time that you spent with Tanya and whatever. And then I would have to kind of work myself up to going. I don't really do that anymore. You know, like tonight, it was kind of more, I just wanted to stay at home. But then I was like, no, you need to get out of yourself and go do something and be social. And Tanya asked you to do it, and so go, right? And it's with your sponsor too, and you'll have a good time. So, but like that tape in my head is not like what it used to be. Like when I got sober, or when I started going out, like, you know, a couple years ago or whatever, it used to be a lot worse. You know what I mean? Like, it used to be, oh, I don't want to go out, and who's going to be there, and if I go dance, what will they think of me, and will they make fun of me, and, you know, will they know I'm gay, and blah, 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 whatever, and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, I used to be so worried about that. I don't care about that stuff anymore. I'm just like, shh, just have a good time. So yeah, I did. I had a good time tonight. And I'm glad I went. Where are we at on time? But you know, it's funny because like going out last night was a very different going out experience than when I went out back in the day, like when I was younger. And tonight was a very different, like, going out experience to what I mean, and I know that, like, what I experienced still exists, you know? But it's so different than how it used to be, you know, of, like, you know, getting dressed cute and, like, trying, I mean, there were cute people, you know, people looked nice tonight, but it was, like, and people looked nice last night, too, but, you know, I mean, like, trying to find the perfect outfit, going to the mall with your good Judies, you know, find the perfect outfit, talk on the phone, who's going out, where are we going first, are we going over, whose apartment are we going to first, all that kind of stuff like that. That isn't really, like, I haven't experienced that the last couple times I've gone out, even when, like Alex and his girlfriends go out downtown and stuff like that. Like, it's not like that anymore. The whole going out thing has kind of completely changed, you know, and, I think back in the day it was like, look cute, so you meet the cute guy, and, you know, I guess getting married kind of kills all that for you a little bit. You know, you're not looking for it stopped, but I mean, you're not really looking for the cute guy anymore, you know what I mean? I mean, it doesn't hurt if, you know, somebody looks your way, but like at small town, the bar that's playing a band in the middle of the strip mall. So it was just fun, it was good, we had a good time. What did somebody say to me one time about being married? It's like going to a restaurant and looking at the menu. You can still look, but you just can't order any food. Oh my gosh. Anyway. And then my good Judy Valerie was texting me. I know what she was doing. She was watching my Instagram story. Because as soon as I got out and I posted, like, she was like, are you having fun or something like that? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, are you out? And I said, yeah. And I knew she was looking. Valerie, I know you. And then Mel today, she's so funny, and I know what part she was talking about too. She said she was watching one of my, she's like, I have to quit. Was it today she texted me, or was it yesterday? She's like, I have to quit watching your vlogs at work because I start laughing so hard, and then my boss thinks I'm an idiot. And it was because I was talking about Mel in the vlog the other day, and like some conversation that we had had, and I know that that was what she was watching when she was like laughing, because it was funny, but anyway. Oh, my Atlanta. I'm gonna sleep good tonight. I slept good last night. I did not sleep well the night before. Sleep good. I slept well the night. I slept well last night, but I did not sleep well the night before. But I will say this, when I got up today, I felt like I had only had like a couple hours of sleep. It seemed like I had just fallen asleep. You know what one of my favorite things is in the entire world? I love this. Is when you wake up, let's say if you go to bed at 10, like as if I ever do. Okay, it just went out of focus. I don't know why. Come on. Focus. But let's just say if you go to bed at 10, right? And I don't go to bed at 10, but let's just say if I do. Why is it doing that tonight? Come on. Look at that. Focus. Look at me trying to fix the focus on the camera. Am I gonna have to stop it? Are you kidding me? Or are you gonna focus? It's literally, I can see the box around my head, and it will not focus. This is so stupid. Okay, hold on. Okay, I literally had to turn the camera off and turn it back on. I don't know why it does that. But anyway, let's say you go to bed at like 10 p.m., right? And you have to get up at, let's say 6. So it's an 8-hour sleep. That's pretty good sleep, right? And you wake up at like 3 or 4. And you like have to go to the bathroom, and you're like so thirsty, and you go get like a glass of water, you know, and you're like, oh my God, I still have 2 or 3 hours left to sleep. You want to go, you go back to sleep, and you just lay there, and it's like perfection, right? Because you still have like 2 or 3 hours to sleep. Like, that's one of my favorite things ever. Back in the day, I did this favorites video. It was like, I remember it was like September favorites or something. I did this favorites video. And I went in, and I should see if I can find this video. I mean, I will be able to find it. It's still up. I never took it down. But it's this favorites video, but they weren't like favorite things that you buy. It was like, and that was one of them. I said that on there. That was like one of my favorite things, like when you wake up in the middle of the night and you still have like more time to sleep. And the other thing I said was like my mom, like she would write lines on record albums. And so, like, on her record albums, I know what she was thinking, like, of her favorite songs, because she would write things underneath them. So they were kind of like musical journals, which is very cool. I said a bunch of things on there. I'll have to go back and watch that. And be like, are these things still true? Did you ever read the Wally Lamb book? I know this much is true. Oh my God, that book was so good. So I read Wally Lamb, She's Come Undone, years ago. And I became kind of like a Wally Lamb super fan. We ended up reading She's Come Undone again last year. And it was actually, and this is why I'm not a big rereader, because when I reread books, I don't typically like it as well the second time as I do the first time. Or it doesn't have the same impact on me, or a book has changed over time and things like that. So I read it like 20 years ago. Well, I read it when I was with my first boyfriend, and we were on vacation in Cancun with my dad and my stepmom. So that would have been 20 to 25 years ago, because we were together 5 years. So I read that then, and then whenever it came out, and then I don't think I read it right when it came out, but anyway, and then I reread it last year, and you know, it's interesting because the book kind of stands the test of time. And that book had such a profound effect on me when I read it a year ago. Somebody just actually messaged me or commented on my Booktube channel like a day or two ago about that book. They were like, I think it was the review of that book or something that I did on my channel, and they were like, oh my god, I just read this because you recommended it and I loved it so much. It is such a phenomenal book. But it was different the second time reading it than the first. Like my memory of it did not match up to what it was. And also, she's like, at the end of the book, she's older, and I related more to the ending of the book than I did the beginning of it. And there's a lot of dealing of grief within the book, which I did not remember reading it the first time. Like, I knew that there was a lot of people that die. Like, the book has a lot of death to it. There's a lot of people that die in the book. But I didn't really remember it that way. I have both my hats in the car right now. Can I just tell you, I wore this last night. But I didn't remember there being that much death in the book the first time that I read it. But, you know, I hadn't experienced that much death either, so maybe that's not something that would have stood out to me then. But the second time that I read it last year, I mean, I have lost so many people now. Isn't that weird, too? You know, the reading of a book frames my life, that I read it 20-some years ago, and then 20 years later, here it is, and all these people that were in my life at that time are gone. Like, it's strange, isn't it? I mean, it's the reality of life, but at the same time, it's strange. I was trying to think of what this tasted like today, because it tastes like something very familiar to me. And it's not just strawberry, like chapstick or strawberry lip smackers. It reminds me of Halls. You know, like the cherry Halls? That's what it reminds me of. Which I don't mind, because I like those cherry Halls. When every year at Christmas time, my dad used to have a medical conference that he went to. I've told this story before in here, but in Chicago. And so he would, and my stepmom would go for, well, some of it would have been before, would it have been before they were together? Maybe not. But we would go for the whole, like, he would go for the whole week, he and my stepmom. And then I would, like, take Thursday and Friday off of school, and I would fly up there Wednesday after school. So my dad's nurse would pick me up, and then she would take me to the airport, and I would fly to Chicago. And I would always get, like, a little, one of those, you know, those packages that has, like, 8 Halls in it. I don't know why. I think I was sick one time when I went to Chicago. I'm all about recreating memories, obviously. You know that if you watch my vlog. And so I think one year I was sick, and I had to have Halls, like, and I was in the room, like, a lot of the time. And so, like, after that, I would always, oh, the Carpenter, Silent Night is on. I would always, I'm listening to Jazz Standards and Classical 73, Holiday Traditions. It sure doesn't seem like a Saturday night. I don't know why. I just thought of that, but it doesn't. So anyway, I would always get one of those. Not the bags of Halls. Those are what I get now. But you know what I'm talking about? Like, they come in, like, the little, like, there's, like, 6 or 8 of them. Oh, more like 8 or 10, probably. Those always remind me of Christmas time. I don't know why. So, we would go to Chicago, and then I had this, like, little trench coat. This little Gant trench coat. I don't know how I remember that. Just remember, I can see the tag inside. And I would wear this little trench coat and a little tie and khakis, and we would go out to, you know, some nice dinner places, and then we would go see a play. We usually went and saw, like, one big, like, Christmas play. But I don't ever remember seeing the Nutcracker. I think we went and saw, like, A Christmas Carol or something like that. Like, every time that, like, every holiday, or every time that I would go up there for Christmas. And I probably did it, like, that's what I was trying to remember, like, because it feels like we did it, like, 5 or 6 years in a row. But I was trying to think about, like, my dad and my stepmom, well, did they get married when I was 12? And they started dating before that, maybe? I don't know. But I feel like I went up there, like, 5 or 6 years in a row, but it would have stopped, like, 14. So 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. So, yeah, like, oh, maybe my dad and my stepmom started dating then and got married when I was 12. That might make sense. Yeah, that would make sense. So, because I feel like she was there every time that we went. So I guess like it was like 5 years, and it was probably like 5th grade to like 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade. Yeah, that would be right. And then I think he stopped going to the conference, or I stopped going, I don't know. But then I always got to pick out, I mean, we went to Chicago a lot because my dad had done his residency through Northwestern, and so his medical residency. So my dad knew like a lot of people up there, and we would go and, you know, visit people, and we would go up there because my dad would have like medical conferences that he spoke at and things like that. So, that wasn't the only time of year that we would go when I was a kid. And if my dad went up there, sometimes I went up there too. Sometimes he would sail from, because, you know, he had a boat that he kept in Saugatuck. So he would sail like it was in the summer from Saugatuck to Chicago. And then he would just like keep the boat in Chicago and stay up there. I never did that. Like, I think that could get kind of like really, like Lake Michigan gets kind of treacherous during bad weather. But we had so much fun on those trips. And I remember just sitting there at night, and I would always get like new pajamas. I would go to Marshall Fields and I would get a box of Frango Mints. I wish whoever sent me those Frango Mints would let me know that they sent me the Frango Mints. Can you email me so that I know? If you really want me to know something, the easiest way is to email me. I'll at least read it, okay? I have so many to respond to. And part of the problem is that when people email me, they email me literally like pages and paragraphs. So it's so hard to like, because I want to give like, I don't want to just respond and be like, hey, thanks, you know what I mean? But if you send me the box of Frango Mints, would you let me know? Because that meant so much to me. And can I just tell you that I have savored those things? I have like 3 or 4 rows left, but I have loved them, and they are really, for me, like my childhood Christmas in a box. Like, I have really enjoyed having those. So thank you so much to whoever sent me the Frango Mints. And somebody told me, I think it was Valerie, told me that they have them at Macy's now. But anyway, so I would always get pajamas, and then, you know, so we would stay at the Ritz-Carlton on top of the water tower, and I think one year we may have stayed at the, what's the place right next door to it? Shoot. But it was just so Christmassy. And it was, you know, you would walk up and down Michigan Avenue and look at all the stores, and everything was so Christmassy. And then I can remember like being in my room, because, you know, they would get a room and then I would get a room, and the hotel room had these big, like 2 feet up, had these big marble, it was like this wide before the window. It would be like the window went from floor to went from like there to the ceiling, and then it would be like a ledge, and it was like it was like a foot wide ledge that you could actually sit on, you know, and look out the window. And I would have like some Christmas movie on in the background that would be playing, you know, late at night or on cable or something. And I would be sitting there just like looking out at the city and just dreaming. I always thought I would live in Chicago. I loved Chicago as a kid. But then when I came out, like everybody that I knew that was gay, like when they moved to Chicago. And I was like, I don't really want to move to Chicago to recreate Indianapolis's gay scene. Like, that's just not really, when I got sober and phased out of that, I just was like, I don't really think I want to go up there. And, you know, it's like going to a college campus where you see, oh, Alex texted me, I didn't even see, where you see all of the same people that you went to high school with. It's kind of like you don't really want to, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, okay. So it kind of lost its allure for me. Alex and I have been up there a couple times. I just don't love Chicago anymore. It's just not my favorite. I see it in a different way. I don't really know what changed that, you know, but when I was a kid, it was just a magical city. I loved it. And I think in my head, I didn't really differentiate New York and Chicago. They were just big cities for me. I remember watching that movie, Stone Pillow, with Lucille Ball, where that woman reporter goes and follows Lucille Ball, and she's a homeless woman. And when I was a kid, I got like very interested in helping the homeless, and did get involved in helping the homeless when I was a kid. And I remember I would write letters to politicians about, like in the state of Indiana, about needing to change and help the homeless. It was all because of that movie. So when we say that pop culture doesn't have a positive effect on people, it did me. That movie really powerfully affected me. And I think also that movie Hobo's Christmas a little bit too, with Jason Robards. But I can remember watching that Stone Pillow movie. I would just watch it over and over and over again. I recorded it, you know, like when it came on TV. Remember that? We would record things on TV back in the day with the commercials and everything. And I would watch it over and over and over again. I think I just kind of thought like, okay, I'm going to be, like, I can't wait to be in a city, is how I looked at it, in New York and Chicago. Although New York always seemed very scary to me. I actually didn't go to New York ever for the first time until I was with my ex. And we went up there for a work thing for him. And we were there like 4 days. And 4 days was long enough for me. That was all I needed to be in New York City. I am not a New York person. I went one time and I did not love it. I know people love that city. I know they can't wait to go. Maybe if I don't know. The thing is, we had a great trip, so there's no reason why I didn't like it. We stayed in Times Square. We stayed at the W in Times Square. It was beautiful. And then we didn't do a show, but we did a lot of walking around. And he had like work stuff that he had to do during the day. So I would go to like Starbucks, you know, that was like literally on every street corner. And I got like 2 days in a row I did this, and I got like a cinnamon dolce latte. And then I just like walked around and looked at everything that I had ever seen that was in movies. I went to Ground Zero, and they were still finishing it and building things up when we went. It was like nowhere completed being cleaned or built up yet when we went. It was bizarre. I remember my response to it being like, having never been to New York before, that when you would see it, when you saw that all happen on TV, like the Twin Towers looked like they were on the edge of the bay. And that you know what I mean? What you don't realize unless you're standing there, well, first of all, is how eerie it is. It's very silent there. What you don't realize is that you're in the city. Like, you are like several streets into the city, like mini city blocks. Those planes came through the city, and it's eerie. I mean, it is really eerie. That was like the first thing I realized. I was like, I remember looking up and being like, there's buildings all around. My perception of that had been completely different, you know? So it was kind of fun to see some of that stuff. Seeing the library, walking down Fifth Avenue, you know, all that kind of stuff was very cool. But Alex loves New York, and he would go back a million times. He would probably live there. I have no desire to go back. But I think I'd be completely fine, honestly, if I never went to Chicago again, too. You know, and I've been there a ton of times in my life, but I don't love Chicago the way that I used to. I think that would probably make my mom sad if she heard me say that. You know, my mom loved Chicago just as much as my dad did. And, you know, I mean, she lived there. My mom worked at Northwestern Library. So while oh, look at that. It's cute. They have that all decorated in there. So while my dad was doing his medical residency at Northwestern, my mom worked at Northwestern Library. And she got a master's degree up there. And she loved it. And they lived in Evanston. That was where I was born. I was born at in Evanston. Well, I was born in Chicago, in downtown Chicago, but we lived in Evanston at the time, and where Northwestern is. So, yeah, Peter was born in Chicago. And they lived in this little 3-story apartment building, 1 block from Lake Michigan. My mom loved that apartment. She would talk about it, and it's kind of fun looking back and seeing the pictures and stuff. My dad, actually, a couple times, like when we used to go up there, he would like take me there. We went and looked at him one time, like when I was looking at colleges. I think it was when we were looking at colleges, I don't remember. But we went and looked, and these apartments that were like, they ended up having to move out of them because they were turning them into like apartments that you rented to apartments that you could buy, and my parents just didn't have the money to put down on these apartments because they just were poor people back then. And so I remember my dad saying, I can't remember how much it was, I'll have to ask him, but that they wanted for those apartments at that time, okay? And now, when I was in high school, this was 30 years ago, they were going for something ridiculous. Like, they had literally, like, turned over, like, 10 times in prices. Like, it was crazy. And my dad was, like, so pissed. He was like, I should have bought that. If you're from Indiana or you've ever been to Brown County, Indiana, where IU is, it's in Brown County. Is Bloomington in Brown County? I think it is. But anyway, Brown County is where like Nashville, Indiana is. It's a very small little town. Brown County is forest upon forest. It's Brown County National, is it Brown County National Forest? Is that what it's called? But Brown County National Parks are there. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Well, now they've like built up a lot of that land, and a lot of the land is owned and whatever, and a lot of the land has been sold to the state. So when my dad was, he had just they had just moved here and he had just started his practice. And like, there were like a couple friends of his that were doctors, and they would all, like, and when my dad tells the stories, like, they all came from very wealthy families, and, you know, we just didn't, and whatever, they were all out at dinner one night, and somebody had brought up that all this land was available down there, and like, nobody was buying it because they thought it'll never turn into anything, you know, little did they know. Now it's like ski slopes and, you know, high-end cabins and people. I mean, it's like, I mean, John Mellencamp lives down there, you know. It was all around Lake Monroe. It was all this land around Lake Monroe, which is the lake down there. So this is like, at the time, oh, probably, okay, so we moved here when I was 4, so this would have been, we moved here when I was 4, almost 5, so this would have been like 76 to 77. So they all decided that they were going to go in and buy this land, like a lot of it, together, right? And my dad just didn't have the money to do it. He's like, do you have any idea? He was like, that land, and none of those people work today. He's like, that land is worth so much money. It's crazy when you think about the value of land in our country, you know? And it's sad, too, sometimes, because, like, well, a lot of that will never be developed because it is so beautiful down there. And I think most of it is, like, national parks and stuff like that. But, you know, it's hard for me, like, driving. I drive around so much, you know, because of my vlog, and I see things at night, and it's like, oh, I remember when that was a field, or that was nothing, or that was nothing. And now we have a strip mall with storefronts that aren't leased out, but we had to have that be a strip mall. We had to take down all these beautiful trees and build it up for a strip mall that we can't even lease out, you know? It makes me sad. But I guess it is what it is. It just came on my Sirius radio. I have it on, but like I'm not, obviously the volume's turned down, and it says Tinseltown Moment. And it's usually like they play these little clips from like It's a Wonderful Life or like other like Christmas movies. I can't think of another one that they play on there. Should we see what it is?
My hate list. My wife's own war on poverty.
I think that was Bob Hope. But they do like little, like White Christmas, they did one on here from, it's cute. Alex listens to the Andy Cohen has a talk show. He listens to her, or listens to him, and then he listens to Brandy Glanville, I think. He listens to her. And then he said that Sandra Bernhardt has one too. And he's like, I can't believe that you love her so much. And I'm like, well, I loved her 30 years ago. I don't really know much about what she's doing these days. And he goes, yeah, I almost can't stand her podcast. And I'm like, really? And I said, isn't it like hilarious? And he goes, sometimes. He goes, she's kind of got a dry sense of humor. And I go, Sandra Bernhard has a dry sense of humor? I don't know that I would say that. And he goes, well, I just don't love her podcast. I haven't listened to it. I've never listened to it. Johnny Mathis, the Christmas song. Oh, isn't that such a great one? But I've never listened to Sandra Bernhard's. I've never listened to Andy Cohen's either. Alex loves Andy Cohen. I was going to try to get him tickets to go see, like for us to go see. I would love to see the show, Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper. But like every time they're coming, it like sells out like that. And they don't come usually anywhere close to us, but they do Cincinnati, which that wouldn't be too far of a drive, and Chicago, which like I said, I don't have a desire to go back to Chicago, but I would like take him to go see that because he would love to see them in concert, whatever it is that they do in concert. They just sit on stage and talk to each other. I mean, I don't even know what would their show be. I like their friendship. I think their friendship is kind of cool. I like when you can see friendships that have been like they've been close. We were at the end again. I like when you see friendships that they've been together that long. And you can just kind of see their comfort around each other, and like where one ends and the other one begins. And like Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen. And then it's like, I watched this Hey Queen interview with Candace Kane and her friend Lena. I can't think of Lena's last name. But anyway, she's like a DJ in New York City. And they were both part of like the whole New York City scene, like back in the day. That interview on Hey Queen is so fantastic. And like they come out in matching dresses and they're like just such great friends, and you can just totally see it, and it's like, who else? I saw something else. Oh, like, I mean, they haven't been friends, they're not friends anymore, but like Madonna and Sandra Bernhard back in the day, I loved their friendship, And isn't it cool when we see like those kind of like, and at that time, I mean, now we get like a very affected Madonna. I mean, affected. Like, I don't mean like affected by something. I mean like affected. Like, she puts on airs. You know what I mean? It makes me sad because I was a huge Madonna fan, but now when I see like interviews of her and stuff, I'm just kind of like, huh? Who is that? It's like, do you watch YouTubers? I'm so over the phony BS on YouTube. I am just so completely over it, It's like, do you ever watch YouTubers and all really you have to do is like pull up one of their videos from like 5 years ago and you're like, oh, they have completely changed. You know what I mean? And it's like, I mean, we all change. Like, let's just be for real. We all change. I've gone back and watched some of my very first videos. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm totally different now than I was then. To some degree, right? Like my vlogs, I don't think probably have changed a whole lot in 3 years, But like my videos and maybe how I did them and, whatever on my Peter Monn channel, they've changed over time. But like, I'm talking more like this just in the way that I present things. But I think I'm talking about when you watch somebody and you see this very humble beginning from where they started, and you can tell like they're just very like still getting comfortable on camera, and there's something very endearing about that, and then they're just so excited to be on YouTube, and they're so excited that anybody wants to watch their channel and their video, and then you keep on watching them and you stay along for the ride, and then you get to a point where there's almost an entitlement, like, of course you would watch my video. There's almost an arrogance about it. And like where you watch it and you're like, is this still the same person? Like, what happened to that person that I watched that was so humble and stuff that now they really do believe in their own head that they are something special, And I'm not saying that we shouldn't all think that. I think we should all think that we're something special. But I mean, like, where they really think they're something special, you know what I mean? Like, okay, you need to pull it in a little bit. Listen, nobody in this world is that fine. I'm just saying, And I have a hard time with that. It's like, I don't know. I went and I watched I was talking about this the other night. So Nick and Poncho, I love that channel, you know. And Ponchino, it was his 10th birthday this week. Or October 18th was his 10th birthday, but they just put out the video, I think, last week. And let me just tell you something about this man, okay? First of all, very humble, very sweet. His videos are 2 minutes long, okay? Like 2 minutes and 15 seconds, 1 minute and 38. I mean, they're short videos. You want to talk about some fantastic editing? I mean, fantastic editing. His videos are fantastically edited. I mean, fantastically edited. And, he doesn't get all the accolades and whatever, you know? It's like, I don't know, where people start thinking they need that, or, you know, like you know, okay, so doing the course of the Shane Dawson series and all this kind of stuff, you know, it was interesting. A lot of, I would say, what I learned about YouTube and stuff, and I kind of talked about this in my video that I did today. I thought it ended fine. I thought it ended well. You know, I said yesterday that I was ready for it to be over, and I am, so I'm ready to move on to something else. But, you know, along the way it was interesting because in talking about the amount of money that Shane Dawson made, and I'm using this just, you know, hypothetically using him as an example. You know, people would talk about how much money he made off this palette. And then, you know, like I had talked about it a couple times in a video, and I speculated that it was, you know, is this just a cash grab? Because people were saying that. I don't think that was probably well received by some people, and that's okay. You know, I think that's a fair question to ask, because a lot of people were asking it. It doesn't necessarily make it true, and I went back and I rewatched the video, and I didn't necessarily feel the same way, but you know what was interesting to me, especially on that video, was the amount of people that would say, Shane Dawson has worked really hard for 10 years on YouTube. He deserves it. Shane Dawson deserves this money. Shane Dawson deserves this. And I thought, like, that scares me when I hear stuff like that, right? I don't take away, and this is not just about Shane Dawson. This is about anybody, you know? When we want to talk about our worth and our value, nobody's worth or value is judged in monetary value. It should not be judged by money. There are a lot of starving artists out there. I'm just going to say it, and people can get mad at me or not. There are a lot of starving artists out there. There are a lot of fantastic writers and artists and painters and musicians who were never even appreciated till after their death. Never got what they deserved during their lifetime, financial fame or otherwise. I think that's a tricky saying when we say that somebody deserves that, you know? And I don't think that I'm somebody to say who deserves this and who deserves that, right? But what about the single mom out there, you know, working 2 jobs to put food on her table because she's got some deadbeat dad of a husband, ex-husband, that's never paid her 1 cent to take care of her kids, and she's busted her ass getting a master's degree, and she's got a serious job, and then she waits tables on the side to make a little bit of money, which is probably humbling anyway, you know, so she can put food on the table and a roof over her head for her kids, come home, do homework with her kids. By the way, this is Toni Morrison. Well, not completely, but a little bit of this is Toni Morrison's story, who wrote Beloved and The Bluest Eye and things like that. You know, but she said in interviews that she would come home and she would do the kids' homework with them and get them bathed and get them into bed, and then she would write late at night, right? There's a lot of really deserving people out there that work really, really hard, that I think deserve a lot. can you imagine if people, because let's just be for real, okay? Especially on YouTube. The amount of money somebody makes, the amount of subscribers that somebody gets, the amount of views that a video gets has no bearing whatsoever on the character of that person or really how hard that person works, or it's all a popularity contest. And it's really, what does somebody want? What is the most like shock value? What do you want to see? What do you want to watch, right? Like, there are a lot of really good, nice people on YouTube, and good and nice ain't building their careers. You know what I mean? They're just not. That is not a defining quality for somebody doing well on YouTube. It just isn't, period, end of story. I think that most people could at least agree with that, right? But can you imagine if in this world, you're... and I'm not saying that I would make a lot of money on this. I hope to be this one day. I'm aiming at that. I'm working harder, you know, but I'm not there today. But I'm more there today than I was yesterday, and more there than I was a year ago. But can you imagine if the amount of money that you made, if the amount of success that you had in your life was judged solely on what kind of person you were? I mean, truly in your heart of hearts, not just what somebody sees in a YouTube video or on social media, okay? But like, what kind of person you really are. Like, are you really a good person? You know? And then imagine that, you know, like some CEO of, you know, a music or company making $15,000 a year, and a host at Walmart making $10 million. Can you imagine if we based somebody's annual salary just on who they were as a person, instead of what you did or how hard you worked or what kind of degrees you had or any of that kind of stuff, you know? So your worth would be valued in your character, and whether or not you were a person of character, and how well you treated other people. Because I see a lot of shitty people that get by just fine in the world. In fact, the world seems to work better for them than it does for some kinder, nicer people out there, you know? And I think that's a hard thing, you know, when you look at the world and you're like, well, I know that this person's a shit person and they seem to be thriving, you know? And that's not about Shane Dawson. Shane Dawson, I think, is a very nice person, and I've never had any interactions with him that would tell me that otherwise. But I mean, but I'm just bringing him up as an example because people were talking about his worth, you know? It's like, I don't know. I've met some movie directors that will never make what he just made off that pallet sale in their lives, and they work pretty hard, you know? I've met some screenplay writers and costume artists and some actors and actresses that do community theater that are fantastic. You know, I've met some people that I think their creative worth, you know? So I don't know. It's Mountain Dew. What do you think about that? What do you think about somebody's worth? What do you think about that statement? And then, in all honesty, what do you think about your worth? And if your worth was based on what kind of person you are, like, honestly, be honest with yourself. You don't have to share this with anybody. I don't have to share with anybody. We can just be honest with ourselves, right? Like, if we really, at our heart of hearts, we know who we are inside, right? If our worth, if our value financially was based on our character and our emotional value of who we are inside, would you work a little bit harder to be a better person? Would you work a little bit harder to maybe be... to have some truer character? I think most of us would, wouldn't we? You know? I think one of the hardest things in this world is when you see people being super successful and thriving by lying, cheating, and stealing, you know? And it's like, well, what do you do with that? You know, and I think a lot of us want to like tell on somebody and be like, well, let me tell you about, but who cares? Their journey is not your journey, you know? And, you know, for, I think the last 35 years, that's been a lesson I've had to learn. You know, somebody else's journey is not my journey, and what they learn or don't learn is not on me. And it really, really doesn't matter, you know? I remember talking to my old sponsor, and this was like when I came back from having not gone to meetings, and I started going to meetings again. And, you know, I met a couple people that were, you know, in recovery, that I'm old school, okay, just so you know. And you be what you want to be, because I'm there today. I've learned that, right? Whatever your journey is your journey. And however you define sobriety is fantastic. I'm just talking about a period of my life that I do still feel this way today. For me alone, that I believe in abstinence-based programming. So, like, for me, when I say I'm sober and I'm clean, that means I abstain from all, you know, drugs and alcohol. But there's people that don't necessarily believe that. There's people in certain 12-step programs that, let's say, don't drink, but they smoke pot. And they think that's okay, right? I don't. For me, I would not do that. If I smoked pot, I wouldn't feel like I was sober. For me. But at that time, it was really getting under my skin, because I would sit in meetings and I would hear people say stuff and I would be like, oh my God, like, but they were just telling somebody outside that they were smoking weed last night or whatever, and I'd say something to my sponsor about it, and he'd say, it's none of your business. I'm like, I know it's none of my business, and he'd go, no, there's no buts about it, it's none of your business. Maybe that works for them. Maybe that's what works for them. And I'd be like, I know, but, you know, and really at the end of the day, it was like, kind of like, I think deep inside, I was like, well, maybe I want to smoke pot, you know? Like, maybe for 20 years, I've been doing this the wrong way. Maybe I want to smoke pot, you know? And he even brought that up. He was like, if that's what you feel like you need to do, then maybe you need to do that. I was like, he knows how to get me, because he knows I'm not going to go smoke pot, or he hopes I'm not, probably, you know? But, like, because I wouldn't consider that sober for me, you know? But that's my journey. And that's not somebody else's journey. And, you know, when somebody else is getting by and maybe they're, you know, doing this or saying that, even if you know the story, even if you know what's really going on, who cares? You know, in all reality, who cares? It doesn't matter. It doesn't make them a worse person than you, and it doesn't make you a better person than them. It just makes us people with different experiences in the world, and who cares, you know? It doesn't matter. It is what it is. Let's just, you know, I've tried so hard in the last year to just not get bent out of shape about stuff that just doesn't matter. Because there's so much. I feel like that's what in that movie, Meatballs, it just doesn't matter. But it's true, you know, there's so much that, like, I want to get real worked up about, or I used to, and I just don't go there anymore. And literally the emotional roller coaster that used to cause me, you know, to go from 1 to 100, and then it just ruined my day, and then it ruined my week, and then, you know, then Alex comes through the door, and then I'm like, you know, it's affecting my relationships with him, and, you know, my friends, and my best friend, and, you know, whatever, and it's just like, this is not worth it, okay? To feel this heated about something, it does not matter, you know? And if it involves other people, then what I have to realize is that's their journey. Like, that's their journey, and my journey is myself, and I gotta just put one foot in front of the other. Just one foot in front of the other, and do what I'm doing. And, you know, I said in my video today, on my Peter Monn channel about the Shane Dawson series, I said that going into 2020 right now, like, as of today, November 23rd, 24th, like, I think it's 24th now, but it was the 23rd. I can say without a shadow of a doubt, today, I'm the happiest I have been on YouTube in the 3.5 years that I've been on YouTube. The happiest. I do what I want to do. I say what I want to say. I don't compromise my principles to, you know, make somebody happy or be in good graces with somebody. I don't care, okay? If I can't say what I want to say because this person is not going to like me or that person is not going to like me, whatever, then what's the point of me having a voice to use anyway? It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything if I have 10 million subscribers. I would rather watch somebody that has 10 subscribers who's being authentic with their voice and standing behind their beliefs than somebody that has 20 million subscribers and doesn't say the truth ever. Period. And I've learned that in the last year that, you know, like, these are the things that are important to me. And I've also learned, you know, that my family and my friends come first. My husband, my dogs. Well, my sobriety, my higher power, my husband, my dogs. That order, right? YouTube's further down. YouTube used to be up at the top, you know? 8 o'clock on a Friday night, we're getting ready to go out to dinner with Jason and Melissa. And, you know, Jacqueline Hill would post a video. I'd be like, Alex, I can't go to dinner. We're gonna have to postpone it for an hour because I'm gonna film this drama video right now. And he'd be like, oh. You notice when this drama pops off anymore, if it pops off at, let's say, 6 to 10, I don't post videos in the evening anymore like that. Back in the day, I used to bring out those ring lights, film the videos, and they were right up. I don't do that anymore. I just don't. It's just not worth it to me. I know that the people that love watching my videos will wait till the next day to hear what I have to think about it. It just isn't that deep. Oh my God, the battery is dying, but I do have another battery. But it just isn't that deep, you know what I mean? Like, I know that, you know, like tomorrow with going to Friendsgiving and wanting to get up and film videos. If I get up tomorrow morning and I film videos, hey, that's great. If I get up tomorrow and I'm like, well, I'm running late and then I want to come home and take a nap with my husband after I eat a big Thanksgiving feast, I'm going to come home and take a nap with my husband. That's more important to me in the long run. I don't know what I just got so emotional for. I have been given one of the greatest blessings of my life. I don't say this very often on here, okay? But, you know, YouTube is pretty much full-time of what I do these days, you know? But I have been given the blessing in my life, which I do feel like is a gift from my higher power. It is whatever it is, circumstances, you know, luck, whatever, I don't know. But I've been given the blessing to do something that I absolutely love to do on a daily basis, to make videos, to be crazy and stupid and funny and sad and, you know, and try to emotionally, you know, move somebody by my stories. Maybe they'll feel what I felt on some level, or think about things in a different way, or, you know, share something funny, or look at it in a way that I think is funny. Maybe realize that life just isn't that deep on some level, you know, to maybe make somebody's troubles go away for 15 minutes while they're watching my video. I feel so blessed that I've been given that. And at the same time, been able to, you know, have the amazing life that I have with my husband and all that kind of stuff. But, and my friends and my family. But the YouTube stuff, of which is fantastic, and the views are great, and all the numbers and everything is so cool, and none of it matters alone. It does not matter alone. You know, it doesn't matter if I don't have, you know, a night out with my best friend, or hold my husband's hand as we're walking through Fountain Square, you know, late at night, and having him look at me and say, I'm really happy that you came out with me tonight, you know, or us like talking in bed late at night, or the dogs running around, you know. It's not missed on me with PP's illness that we're on borrowed time with all of our dogs. You know, we're suspended in a moment of time that they're gonna only be here for a certain amount of time. We're all gonna only be here for a certain amount of time. I don't wanna waste that. And I think that's why I love this channel so much, because I can come on here and talk about all of this kind of stuff, and there are those of you out there that are nodding and listening and saying, yes, yes, this is it right here, right? And so you're my people. Like, see, you get that, right? You get it. And this is never a distraction for me. This is why I love this channel. This is why my husband wakes me up and says, you need to go vlog, because he knows how much it means. Okay, I had to pull into this little parking lot here. This fellowship church. And but you know, but that's why Alex wakes me up. He knows how much it means to me, and I feel so blessed. I don't think really there are even words to express how I feel like I have the coolest life, you know? And that everything about this whole YouTube stuff is just, it's magical and it's surreal. And, you know, I hear a lot of people talk about, like, the business aspect of YouTube and, you know, this and that. And, you know, like, you have to know about this and you have to know about that. And, you know, if somebody reaches out to me and they're like, hey, we'd love to do a sponsorship with you, I take a look at what it is. And I'm like, okay, it's either something I can support or it's not, right? That's about as deep as it gets for business with me. I don't know about a lot of the business stuff. I don't need to know a lot about the business stuff. I just don't. You know, I really just don't need to know about all that kind of stuff. I film my videos and I post them, and, you know, like, I'm not real smart when it comes to branding yourself. I don't think about that stuff. You know, and I've talked to friends of mine and they're like, you need to think this way. Maybe I do. Maybe that's, you know, where my lack of number success, other people are better. I don't know about all that. I just don't, you know. I just know I do what's right in my heart. I do what feels right in my heart, you know, and in my gut. And I do what I like. And my dad always taught me, do what you love and the money will follow. And if the money doesn't follow, at least you're doing something that you love. And there's a lot of truth to that, I think. You know, if you're able to pay the bills to do with what you love, why wouldn't you? Why would you ever, you know, why would you ever do something like, why? I feel blessed, you know, that YouTube has allowed me this life. And it's the coolest thing. But what I have really greatly learned is none of it matters without all the rest, you know, my recovery and my friends and, you know, my relationship with my husband and my dogs and all of it, you know, like none of it. What is going on here with my windshield? It is like so dirty. Oh, it's because I turned off the windshield thing, but like none of that matters if I, you know, so, okay, what? You make $1 million on YouTube in a year and every video you post gets 5 million subscribers or 5 million views, and you have 15 million subscribers, and I'm just making this up as I go. I'm not talking about any specific person, you know, and you live in some ginormous house and everything you have is name brand and whatever. But isn't that kind of sad life? I mean, in all honesty, some of the times I've been the happiest in my life was when I was the poorest and had nothing. I don't think, because I think I didn't want for a whole lot because I knew I couldn't afford it anyway. You know what I mean? So I was watching reading all these comments on Twitter from people saying that they, you know, like, they're talking about I was like kind of looking through not just my Twitter, but other people's Twitters about people saying things about the series finale from the Shane thing. And a lot of people were saying, like, I wish I could have afforded one. I love Shane, but I can't afford a pallet. And there were so many people that said that they've watched Shane for 10 years and all they wanted was a pallet and they couldn't afford it, you know? I wish I could buy a pallet for every one of those people out there that love Shane and just want to be part of his journey. I think that was what was, you know, cool about the series, was that it allowed people to be part of one of their favorite YouTubers' lives. And so I don't know, you know, it's like YouTube is this really cool world, and I think sometimes I just want to always stay in check. I want to always stay in check and remember what it was like that very first, I mean, I filmed stupid videos back in the day, but I want to remember what it was like that very first day that I ever sat down for my Booktube video, knowing that I was going to be committed to doing that, and sitting there at that desk being nervous as shit and saying to myself in my head, nobody's gonna care if you're fat. You can wait 6 months, but you won't lose the weight even then. So if you want to do this, if this is something you want to be part of, do it, because I am never part of anything. And I wanted to be part of something, and I wanted to be part of Booktube because I love books, I love to read. And I remember sitting there at that desk that day and thinking to myself, so excited to do it, you know, and I had no idea where that one video would lead me, on what journey it would lead me, you know. It's like a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step, you know. I had no idea, and I remember sitting there and being like, I don't really know what this channel. I've gone back a lot, and like in the last year more than I had before. Before, I think I'd only watched it like once or twice again, but I went back a couple of times this year and I went and watched it. You know, I can see myself sitting there and being like, I don't really know what this is going to be about. It's going to be about books. And I was so nervous. I was so nervous, you know. And I'm not nervous anymore. And this thing that I wanted so badly to be part of ended up being the greatest gift that I've ever received. And I don't want to ever forget that. You know, like I say this to friends of mine that are YouTubers as well, and I don't have that many anymore. You know, I just don't. And you know, in all honesty, I'm kind of fine with that. It's lonely sometimes, but I'm okay with that. I just try to stay in my own lane, do my own thing, you know. But when the conversation of numbers comes up instead of subscribers and views, like, don't get me wrong, okay? I've never been a BS artist on my channels, and I'm not going to start now. I would love to just soar in subscriber count, right? Because what that means is people like me, and they want to watch my channel. And I would love for my videos just to soar in numbers. Because of the same thing. But I also know that I get a lot more views on some of my videos than other people do. And there are a lot of people out there that get a hell of a lot more views than I do. And that's how life is. You know, my Peterisms channel, I mean, it hardly ever breaks 1,000 views. And I've been doing that channel for over 2 years now. And it hardly, like, I think exactly 2 years maybe, but it hardly ever breaks 1,000 views a video, right? I mean, it's me reading meditations, why would it? But that is the channel that I get the most responses from. Like, in all honesty, besides my vlog, it's the Peterisms channel that the most people are like, you know, blah, 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 this, and blah, 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 that. And I listen to your Peterisms videos every day. They've changed my life. They've helped me so much, on and on and on. And, oh my Lord, all these pickup trucks that sound like boats. And the only reason I know that I don't hardly ever break 1,000 on that channel is because I just see that it's below 1,000. I see it's like 800 and something, whatever. My Booktube channel is the same way. I don't really care, you know. Would it be upsetting if nobody watched my video because I had actually sat down and filmed a video that nobody watched? Sure, like, let's just be for real. And when people reach out to me and they say, I don't get any views on my videos, I don't know what to do, like, I don't know what to tell them sometimes, because I understand, like, that would be hard, right? So yes, so to just be like blowing up in numbers and all that kind of stuff would be exciting, it would be fun, sure, right? But at the same time, and I always say this to my friends that are YouTubers as well, if I never gained another subscriber and I stayed exactly where I was at and I got to do exactly what I'm doing right now for the rest of my life, like, I would be so happy. Like, I'm fine with where I'm at. Like, I love it, you know? And I've had real acceptance in the last year on the fact that the numbers and all of that are nice. And you know what's interesting too is, like, each person that you hear that goes through like this major crap on, you know, like, whatever, like, one of the things they say is that they realize the numbers don't really mean that much. And isn't that funny? Like, that's the takeaway, right? But it seems like the people that do really, really well are the people that are focused on the numbers. I mean, I cannot tell you how many conversations I've had with people that are like, it's about the numbers. Like, that's all they want to talk about is the numbers. You're like, okay, so are you making videos for videos because you love to make videos, or are you making videos because of subscriber count, view count, and dollar signs? Like, where is it at, right? And I don't think the viewer really cares. I don't think it affects the viewer either way. They just want to watch videos, you know? So, but like, that is a truism of YouTube. There's a lot of people out there that I don't think they would post another video if they didn't make a cent off of it. I really don't. So, you know, it's interesting, like, when we talk about, like, Instagram, like, going to, like, taking away all of the like counts and stuff like that. It'll be interesting to see how that affects people, you know? And what that does for, you know, people and their, like, I mean, I don't know how, like, companies are going to judge who they have as influencers if you can't see your analytics. If they can't see your analytics, I don't know how they're going to send things to certain people or what that's going to do for them, you know, but it'll be interesting to see if, like, YouTube goes to that at some point too, because it's not really a real assessment of somebody's value, again, you know, but I do think that for us that are sitting there and we're the ones there are numbers, they, to us, do represent value and worth. And I guess what I learned in the last year was, there is no amount of numbers on a video and no amount of subscribers next to my name that equal getting an email from somebody saying, I went through a divorce and didn't think I could get up on a day-to-day basis, but your videos made me laugh on your review channel to the point that I just was looking forward to those on a daily basis. Or somebody saying to me, I went through my 3rd round of chemo and it was your videos that I sat down and listened to. It was your vlog that I sat down and listened to on a daily basis. Thank you so much for what you do. Just me driving around in a car, posting a video, you know? No number equals that. No number. That's what really, really matters. And okay, you guys, my battery on this one is dead too. And I didn't realize I thought it was fully charged, but it's not. So I've got to go. I literally probably have about 15 seconds. So anyway, I hope you guys are having an amazing, I didn't get to finish all that, but you get the gist of it. I'm super thankful for this channel, and I am super thankful for each and every one of you that watch my videos. And now it's going out of focus. I cannot believe this. Anyway, I hope you guys are having an amazing Sunday, unless you have other plans. But like I always say, don't have other plans. Make the most of your day and do something that do something that will make you happy today. Do something that will make you proud. Do something that when you look back on it, you'll be like, anyway, you know all that. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Make sure that you look at yourself in the mirror every single day and you do your positive affirmations. You are important, you are valuable, you are worthy, and that you believe that in your heart of hearts. And most importantly, make sure that you pass it on to somebody else and let them know how important they are to you. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.